Since I started posting videos about my eBay side of the business, selling singles and slabs, I've had quite a few people message asking how I package everything up to make sure cards are safe during transit. So what I'm gonna do, rather than messaging everyone all the time and helping them out individually, we're just gonna post a video here so everyone can come here, watch the video, and I'll show exactly my process for shipping each different kind of package. Today's actually a perfect day because I sold some slabs and singles, single orders and multiple single orders. So there's gonna be a variety of packages that I need to prepare today, and it'll be perfect to go through all the different examples on what to do in each situation. Whew. Out of breath. I'm out of breath, boys and girls. Your boy needs to work out and get in shape, let me tell you, because sometimes just talking, I get out of breath, which is not good. But all right, before we go any farther and show you the process, I'm gonna show you all the materials you're gonna need. I'll put links in the description below of every single item that I mention. And I'm just gonna tell you right now, if you're taking this business seriously, I know some of these can be expensive to buy in bulk, but buy them in bulk, you will save yourself a lot of money in the long run. Yes, you're gonna spend a lot more to begin with, but if you're serious about this business and you're in it for the long haul, it's gonna be worth it to just buy it in bulk and save yourself money. So, first things first, penny sleeves. Pretty straightforward. Every card is gonna need a penny sleeve. You're gonna want team bags, and we'll get into why you want that later. You're gonna want top loaders. Most of the time, if you're just doing TCG, you just need standard top loaders. If you get into sports cards or anything like that and they have thicker cards, maybe just have a handful of different sizes on hand so that you have what you need all the time. But again, TCG, you're pretty much only gonna need the standard top loaders. Card Saver 1. That's important, guys. Card Saver 1. Don't get the different sizes. They make smaller ones that a lot of sellers use because sometimes they're cheaper, but trust me, Card Saver 1 is what you want. If you want to go a little bigger, that's fine. I wouldn't go too big. The Card Saver 1s, to me, are the perfect size. The number 6 plain white envelope, I always get the security envelopes and the peel and ready to go. So they just have this little piece of wax paper or whatever it is that you peel off, so you don't have to lick each envelope, or you don't have to get one of those moisteners to seal every envelope. They do cost a little more. I think they're about 40% more, but to me, it's just worth it to not deal with the other stuff. You can save some money there if you want to get the other style. That's okay. You're gonna want bubble mailers. This is 4x8 inch size, and then there's 6x10 inch size. I have both on hand all the time because I do use both of them in different situations. And sometimes I actually put the smaller ones inside of the bigger ones, which you'll see today when I'm shipping one of the cards that's a little bit higher in value. I want to add a little bit extra protection to it. Cardboard. You're gonna want cardboard. I pre-cut cardboard the exact same size as top loaders. And then I used to have pre-cut pieces that were the same size as slabs, but I ran out of those. Doesn't matter, you can cut them as you go if you want. What I usually do is I use my table saw and I just cut them in mass quantities all at once. That's how they have these nice clean edges and they're not rough cut. Like if you're cutting them by scissors, sometimes they're jagged edges, whatever. You can also buy things like these. Hobby Armor makes cardboard versions. These are plastic. Feel free to buy those if you want. I use the cardboard because I always have tons of cardboard boxes on hand. And again, I have a table saw, so I just cut a ton of them in very short order. It doesn't take me very long to get enough to last me multiple months. So if you have a table saw, I know it seems like overkill cutting cardboard with a table saw, but it's awesome, it's slick, it works. Next, I have a Rollo thermal printer. You don't have to get a Rollo. They're a little bit more expensive. They're kind of the top of the line thermal printers for printing labels, but get some sort of thermal printer. Again, if this is something you're serious about, you're gonna want a thermal printer. They print different size labels. I like I think it's 4x6 size label. They come in rolls, they come in sheets, which is what I use. And essentially just get whatever you want. I believe that size is 4x6 that I use. Trust me, it's worth it. I know you can find thermal printers for like 60 or 70 bucks. Go out and get one. The Rolos are more expensive, but I wanted to get a nice one because I knew I was going to be using it for a long time and I wanted it to last. Next, painter's tape. You can use masking tape. Do not use Scotch tape. Don't use electrical tape. Don't use any other kind of tape. Painter's tape, masking tape. That's it. But especially no Scotch tape, no packaging tape for what we're using it for. You'll see later what we use it for. If you use the other types of tape, people will get mad at you because it's a pain in the butt to get them off and it's just not good. So make it easier on your buyers. Protect their cards, but make it easy for them to get at them. What else? Is that everything? I think that's everything. All right, let's pack some orders. All right, guys, so the first order I have to ship, I've got this PSA 10 Muse slab that we're gonna get packaged up. This is where we're gonna use the cardboard and we're gonna just put the slab in between the cardboard. Actually, first things first, I forgot to mention these. There's these plastic, they're kind of like team bags, but they're just little bags that your slabs fit inside. Make sure you have a bunch of those on hand if you're shipping higher end slabs. If you're shipping mostly lower end slabs, I wouldn't worry about it, but I like to use them on any of my higher end slabs. So first things first, get the slab in between the cardboard. And this is where you use your painter's tape or masking tape. And you're literally just taping around the slab. And all we're doing here, yes, I know the cardboard is a little beat up. Really all we're trying to do is add another layer of padding. So the thicker the cardboard, the better. If it's already got some creases, it doesn't really matter. We're just trying to add a little more padding. So step one, get that all taped up in between cardboard. Step two, you don't want your cardboard to be too big because you want your slab to fit inside this 4x8 bubble mailer. And if this were a cheap slab, I would just mail it out just like this, guys. But because this is a $300 slab, I am now going to put it inside the other bubble mailer. It may be a little overkill, but it's going to protect your slab if that slab ever were to get stepped on or run over by a vehicle or something. It's just gonna, I laugh when I say run over by a vehicle, but I've had people message me and tell me that their slab had tire tracks on the label and it wasn't cracked. Miraculously, it didn't get cracked because of this packaging. All right, so obviously normally this is gonna be your shipping label, but I wanna show you guys what I do without the buyer's information on there. So you see this seam right here in the bubble mailer? I want to put my label right over the top of it, just like this. And the reason for that is sometimes these bubble mailers, you can open them up and reseal them and make it not look like it was never tampered with. So what I do is I just make sure my label goes right over the top of that seam. So there's no way this thing can get tampered with in transit. Next, and another thing I didn't mention is get one of these do not bend stampers. And you can just stamp right on there, do not bend. Now, keep in mind you cannot use this stamp on a regular eBay standard envelope. It can only be used on non-machinable letters, which we'll touch on later. But let me get the real label on this quick and then we'll move on to the next package. All right, next order, we've got a single card order. This is a Chinese Reshiram and Charizard card. This is gonna go in an eBay standard envelope. Believe it or not, guys, this is under a $20 card. So even though it's a nice card, we're still gonna send it out in eBay standard envelope. It's under $20. eBay standard envelopes are amazing. They are insured. Most of the time the cards get through just fine, no damage whatsoever. But when they do get damaged, all you have to do is file a claim with eBay. You take kind of a screenshot of the customer complaint telling you that it got damaged, and they reimburse you. It's usually a pretty quick process. I actually just had to do this once. First time in like, I don't know, 400 or 500 cards I've shipped out that I've had to file a claim for a damaged card. I got paid out the next day. So it's not always that quick. I should say it was the second time I've ever had to do it. The first time I had to do it, it took almost a week to get paid out, but this time it just took literally a day and a half. I got paid out, compensated for the card, I refunded the buyer, and they're actually sending the card back to me. So I get the card back, I can resell it still as a damaged card now this time, but I also got reimbursed for the full value of the card. So pretty cool. You're protected. Yes, if it's damaged and you had to refund the buyer, you're still selling it at a smaller amount than you would have originally, but you still get covered. It's not on you to reimburse the customer as long as you did everything you were supposed to do shipping it out. So once you have the card ready to go, get one of your card savers. So then all you have to do is get this card inside the card saver. I like to put it in upside down. And the reason for that is if for some reason the envelope gets wet, it's just a little bit extra protection between the card and the moisture. And then you just put a little piece of tape at the top to keep the card from sliding out. Sometimes these card savers, the cards can slide out. And then all you have to do is put the card right in the envelope and it's ready to go. All right, next, what you're gonna do, just like we did on the bubble mailer. Now this customer is gonna think what is happening because there's gonna be two labels on here, but I wanna show you. So you can see the flap is here on the bottom side. I put the envelope upside down. That way when I put the label on there, I can put the label right over the seal of that envelope, and then I fold it around just like that. And again, just keeping it tamper resistant. So again, if this were a real label, my return address would be here, the client customer name would be here. So the envelope is literally upside down when you put that label on it. It's gonna protect the card, and it's gonna make sure that that flap doesn't come open as well, and it's gonna be tamper resistant. So some things that I forgot to mention while I was going through that last little recording section with plain white envelopes is what to do on plain white envelope orders when it's more than one card. Each card, if it's a single order, you can do up to a $20 card in value and send it in a plain white envelope. But if you have multiple cards, you can go up to $50 in value as an insurable amount. What I usually try to do is do no more than 3 cards per card saver. You technically can probably get away with 4 or 5 if you're not penny sleeving each one. But what I do is any card that's over like $5-6 gets its own penny sleeve. So unless I'm shipping out an order of a bunch of like $1 or $2 cards, then I'll put them all in one penny sleeve and get them inside the card saver just to make sure it doesn't get too thick. But again, once you start getting to that like $5 plus range, I make sure every single one of those cards goes in its own penny sleeve. There's no damage that happens if you have more than one card in a penny sleeve. It's just kind of like taking an extra precaution during shipping to make sure there's one less thing that can go wrong. All right, so once you start getting into these bigger orders that are more than about 4 or 5 cards, like I said, you can kind of get away with the first method up to 5 cards, but usually I don't do it above 3 cards. However, you can still use plain white envelopes as a method. This order in particular, I can't do that because it's over $50, but I'm still gonna show you what my method would be. So what I would do is I would take the 2 most valuable cards, put them in top loaders. Everything else is gonna be in its own penny sleeve. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna sandwich those cards in between the top loaders. And then you're gonna put the entire group of them inside of a team bag, just like this. Now this is the exact same method I do if I'm bubble mailing up to this point, but the difference comes after this. So what you're doing with the team bag is it's gonna hold all those other cards in the middle in place so they're not sliding around, they're not gonna get damaged. And it's gonna keep the cards in the top loaders from having the chance to slide out. So at this point, what I would do is I would do the same process. Put it in the envelope, seal it up, and it's ready to go. So you cannot have more than 2 top loaders in a plain white envelope and still send it out with the eBay standard envelope. The key thing here is you have to mail it out as a 3-ounce envelope, and you have to write non-machinable on it or have a stamp like this that says do not bend, so they know to not run it through the machine. So if you do a 3-ounce mailing, it's enough postage for you to be able to send it non-machinable, and it's not gonna be too heavy to be above that 2-ounce threshold. So you're gonna be able to send it out non-machinable with just the 3-ounce postage selected. Now this is not going out plain white envelope, so what I'm doing is gonna be different. I'm gonna actually put all of the cards that are above $10 in their own pennies or top loader if I have enough space. So these team bags fit 4 top loaders. So what I'm doing is I'm picking out the 4 most valuable cards. Those are going in top loaders. And there's 1 card in here that's above $10 that is not going to be able to fit in a top loader, but it's okay. There's plenty of protection in this setup that they're gonna be just fine. So what we do is we do 2 top loaders on the bottom. Do your best to keep these centered on the top loaders as you sandwich them in, and then put them in the team bag just like this. So if you tried to get a 5th top loader in here, you might be able to squeeze it in, but it's gonna be really tough. So now, because this is going to bubble mailer, this is where those cardboards that I pre-cut the size of top loaders come in play. So now that I've got the top loaders in, now I'm gonna sandwich each one of these cards in between. That whole team bag pack is gonna go in between the cardboard. And we're gonna do just like we did with the slab. We're gonna tape it all the way down. We're gonna keep it as tight as possible to make sure those are protected in there. Now you've got 2 options here. You can use a small envelope like this, and that's it. You can use one of the bigger bubble mailers, and that's it. Or you can do both. Put them all in the small one, then inside of the big one. Because I have these already very well protected, I'm usually gonna just do the small bubble mailer and be done, which is actually what I'm gonna do this time as well. So same thing that we did on the big bubble mailer, we wanna put the label over the top of this seal. Now I'm not gonna show you this time because I've already showed you how to do it on the other bubble mailer, and I just don't wanna use 2 labels again, but that's how this order works. All right, I actually decided it's probably good for me to show you how I pick the labels as well. If you've never used eBay, it might not be intuitive to you. So one thing to note is the weight has different levels where your postage changes. So if you watch in the bottom right, if I have this set as a 1-ounce package, it's $5.29 to ship it to this buyer. If I do 2 ounces, it's still $5.29. And if I do 3 ounces, it's still gonna be $5.29. Now, if I go to 4 ounces, most of the time it's gonna change. Maybe not most of the time, but a lot of the times 4 ounces is one of your windows where it might go up in price. And then 5 ounces and 6 ounces are gonna be the same rate. and then you go into 7 ounces, there you can see it's gonna add more postage onto it again. So essentially, it's every 3 ounces you go up is your possibility for your postage cost to go up. So this is gonna be a less than a 3 ounce package. I'm gonna weigh it now to make sure, but it's gonna be less than 3 ounces. Yeah, it's 2.27 ounces. So basically all I do is I just use the highest number in each section when I'm picking the postage. So in this case, I'm just gonna say 3 ounces. And the dimensions kind of matter, but not really unless you start getting above a pound, then they start mattering more. They really go based on weight, less than a pound. So just gonna purchase that. This is gonna pop up asking if I wanna use insurance. I never do insurance other than just what they give you built in. Knock on wood, it hasn't come back to bite me, and the amount of money that I've saved on all the labels that didn't have problems, I would easily be able to pay for any issues that I have in the future. All right, next we have a Stoutland card to send out, and I forgot to show you what the eBay shipping portal looks like on these plain white envelopes. So since I showed you how it works on the bubble mailers, figured I better show you how it works on the envelopes as well. So by default, you're gonna wanna use 1 ounce. If you're sending 3 cards or less, it's gonna be 1 ounce. What I wanted to point out here is this shipping weight. If this were a non-machinable order, you just change that to 3 ounces and you see it changes your cost from 74 cents to $1.32. That's enough to cover the non-machinable charge for you. So that's all you would do if you were sending a non-machinable envelope, but we're sending a regular envelope, so I'm just gonna print the regular eBay standard label. So that pretty much covers the shipping for how I handle cards on eBay. One thing I did not touch on, if you're sending out bubble mailer cards and you choose to do the cardboard method like I do for protecting your cards, you can fit 2 top loader sections side by side in those 6x10 envelopes that I showed you. And there's plenty of space, but I wouldn't probably go more than like 10 cards per. So if you start getting above 15 to 20 cards in an order, you're gonna wanna switch to a box. So I'm not gonna show you how to ship in a box. I think each of you can figure out that a box is the most protected way to ship cards, and it's pretty straightforward. Personally, if I'm shipping in a box, I'm still gonna go through the entire process that we've already gone through, except for I wouldn't probably sandwich everything in between cardboard. I'd still do the top loaders in team bags and sandwich everything in team bags. I would just take out the step of the extra cardboard, and then obviously you're gonna throw in some paper or newspaper, whatever, as fluff to hold those cards in place so they don't shift all around in the box during transit. I think that pretty much covers everything. I'm sure I've missed some details here or there. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll do my best to answer you, but I think this is gonna be a pretty comprehensive list that covers everything you're gonna need to know about shipping cards for eBay. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you found this helpful, please make sure you like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more content. And if you're looking for any cards or sealed product, head to my website, covenantcards.shop, my eBay page, or my TCG player, and we'll take care of you. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. God bless.